I just delete several files from my phone. Hopefully they're fine. What if I tell you that even if I delete things from my computer, from my mobile device, not necessarily they're gone. Sometimes we need to go back for a backup or maybe to access certain information. What if I tell you that it's possible? This is the Hacker's Corner. Hi everybody, welcome back. This is the Hacker's Corner. My name is Servín. I'm a professor here at El Paso Community College. I teach courses in computer science, cybersecurity, AI, and I am very lucky to actually be hosting this show, the Hacker's Corner. As you know, we're running a Hack the Border, a series for adversarial thinking. We're running this version 2.0, which is now the second version of the Hackers the Borders. We would like to thank our sponsors, for example, the National Science Foundation, Microsoft, and other folks who are actually been helping us to come up with this great organization, great support for Hack the Border. Hack the Border has as an initiative or as a mission is to help professional development and create what we call real-world experience, also known as experiential learning. So we want to have the community, their students, and of course, faculty and educators to come here and learn from these workshops. Today we have three guests from Hack the Border. As a matter of fact, we have three speakers that we're gonna be part of this series of professional developments. We call it workshops. But not only that, I'm very proud to say that these speakers that we're going to have today are EPCC talents, EPCC students who went through a coaching summer training. And it's not like a very rigorous training, it's a very rigorous training because they own one of their topics and they become experts on that by using different resources. And now you can find them in these workshops. So welcome to these great students and coaches. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Yes, I'm Luis Dominguez. This is my final year here at EPCC. I'm a cybersecurity student, and I'm one of the coaches that developed the forensics and data recovery workshop during our summer camp here at EPCC.
Very good. I'm going to skip Pablo for a second. You?
I'm Sebastian Lucero. I'm a computer science major here at EPCC, and I helped my friend Pablo here develop a workshop in web exploitations.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to come back to Pablo because...
So, my name is Pablo Hernandez. I'm in my last year of studies here at the community college. I am dual majoring in computer science and cybersecurity, and I am also doing, with Sebastian here, doing a SQL Injection Workshop.
Excellent. And the reason why I skip this configuration is because we have three different flavors of these workshops. For example, we have cybersecurity emphasis, which is where Louis has been working through the forensics workshop. We have the computer science aspect, which is more involved with programming, web development, and whatnot. And Pablo is in this intersection of both. Many people believe that computer science, cybersecurity, IT, they're very separated entities, and this is not true. I mean, they're all combining. When they combine it, you see the real world application about these technologies. And that's what Pablo is double majoring in computer science and cybersecurity, which is awesome. You also are
the president of the Computer Science Club.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit more about the ACM. By the way, the ACM is a national student chapter of the Association of Computing Machinery, right?
Correct.
And both of you are leaders, actually. I think the three of you are members, but both of you are the chairs, right?
Yes,
tell us
correct.
a little bit about how is ACM helping us in this Hack the Border and your initiatives that you have.
So essentially, we have been given the opportunity to introduce cybersecurity to students of computer science here at the college, and cybersecurity as well. And we've essentially gathered members to help us out with these workshops and to help pass along the knowledge that we've been given over the summer.
You guys are sponsored for Hack the Border since last year, right? ACM, along with IEEE El Paso sections, provide support in not only generating this workshop, but also to bring students environments. Tell us a little bit about your initiatives that you have, not only for Hack the Border, but a contiguous way to engage the students, or the strategies you have, or events?
So we like to host a lot of workshops in various aspects. You know, computer science is this big field, right? So there's many doors to open, and our goal really with the club is to introduce these doors as much as possible to as many students as possible. That's our main mission with all of our workshops and all of our initiatives. We try and introduce guest speakers as well. Last semester we had a successful event where we got some of your former students to come speak and pass on whatever they know.
That's true. EPCC students who are now in these big companies, they came in and give a talk about their experiences. You also work very close to transfer students to UTEP, for example, yeah?
Correct.
Yeah, so that's great. Congratulations. Louis, tell us a little bit about the work that you do.
Right now, I'm working in the Cisco lab
What is
as a
Cisco?
Cisco is networking. Anything that has to do with networking. Routers, switches, firewalls, everything that makes communication possible, pretty much. We're there to help other students that need help within their Cisco courses, Cisco 1, 2, and 3. We guide them along with any issues that they might have. There's a few times where the professor will come in and we'll help out with the professor, and we'll be able to guide the students with any problems, any troubleshooting they might have within the Cisco lab.
I believe you're part of STS.
Yes, I'm part of the
Student Technology
student-
Services.
Yes.
I always mention, because not only you, peer leaders, the Grow with Google, several projects, STS has a wonderful way to support the students here in the college, by the way. It's a great program that we have. And it's great that you are there not only to assist the faculty, but also to assist students after class, right? Is that what you guys doing there?
Yes, not only during class, but also after class. I believe it's very important, especially having another student helping. Because I know when I started, it was very intimidating for me to, especially getting into the field. I came from a broadcasting journalism background, and personally I came from a career in armored security. So this was something completely new to me. So having teachers there is always a welcome thing, but having students that can kind of relate to what I'm doing, struggles that I might be going through, is something that I found very important. And by volunteering initially in the Cisco lab, that was my mission, is attempting to help students that are struggling, that might be a little bit hesitant to ask a teacher. They might feel a little bit intimidated asking teachers to guide them, let them know that I was there too. I was struggling, and we're there to help. We're there to help the students as well.
I agree. I strongly believe in peer-to-peer mentorship, and
Yes.
also because the students, they get to recognize or to capture other aspects that professors we tend to lose, because we're talking about this big variety of spectrum of education, but also the peers, if you recognize something in particular, how to teach a specific topic, is super helpful for the other classmates. So I have seen you also in the peer-to-peer lab sometimes, so I want to congratulate you all for the great work that you do here and for your peers. Having said that thing, tell us a little bit about the workshops that are going to be offered in Hack the Border. Let's start with you guys, because you're going to have the very soon, right, to come?
Correct.
When is this workshop? It's like next week.
It's
Roughly
Halloween.
On Halloween, yeah, October 31st.
I'm assuming it's going to be spooky and
I would say this concept is very spooky,
okay,
yeah.
tell us a little bit more about what are you guys doing and why it's important.
So, our concept is SQL injection, and to anybody listening who's like, what is that? Well, we know that there's this concept of injection in cybersecurity when it comes to web vulnerabilities in particular. When we're on the website as regular users, there are many places where we, the user, are meant to enter data. If I'm a malicious person, somebody with bad intent, I can input code into these inputs, and I can see things that I'm not supposed to see, maybe do things I'm not supposed to do. And in our particular workshop that we're doing SQL injection. So it's using a language called SQL.
What is SQL stands for? Do you remember?
Structured, or do you want to go?
Yeah, structured query language.
Structured querying languages. Is that for databases? Is that for what exactly?
Specifically for databases, correct.
Okay. So it's important because everywhere, everyone has a database, right? And if you know how to get through the entire queries and inject those malicious code, is that what you're referring to? you can not only get access to certain things, but also you can navigate through the entire data set, which is very dangerous. Tell us a little bit more about this workshop.
So yeah, exactly like I said, we can navigate the entire data set. We're going to be utilizing some tools that will let you see all the tables, every database that's related to the vulnerable machine that we're going to be using. So lots of data, and the potential damages are very large.
You told us a little bit offline about certain specific cases that has happened.
No, more certainly. Well, the reason we initially wanted to do this topic in particular is recently this year there was a major attack involving this type of injection. We're talking billions of dollars on the line. And in June 5th of this year, a list of victims came out, one being a big broadcasting network known as the BBC. And so this concept is important because it shows students that these concepts that we're learning here at this workshop, these things apply to the real world. These things are out there, and so you shouldn't just brush them off and think, oh, it's just some cute little workshop. No, these things are real.
I think it's great because what we have seen here, a document that says basically what happened in this particular case. Now, this is not the only case. As a matter of fact, SQL Injections is considered to be one of the top 10 attacks that has been determined by the Department of Defense, by in general cybersecurity consortiums and whatnot. So I think this is a very important topic. We offer courses at EPCC that relates with MySQL and other servers like database management and whatnot. I remember when I first saw this attack, I was taking an advanced database management course at UTEP when I was a student. And it was so simple the way they attacked it, right? Because if you know or you don't know, when you create programming, you have statements that you check if one condition is true, right? If there's some condition is true, then you move forward. Now, suppose that you have your username and password, right? That's one of the things that you check. And then if you have an if statement that if the password is whatever that value. So one of the examples for me as a student when caught my attention is if you instead just type your password, you type the value true, right? I hope I'm not spoiling too much of your code of your workshop, but you can check a condition if true equals true, which is true by the way. Yeah, you get access to that thing. When I saw that, for me it was like, there is big things to do here. Am I far away from this situation?
Not at
Not
all.
at all, Servín.
There's not to spoil it too much, but just like you said, if true equals true, we do something very similar if 1 is equal to the value 1, which it is. So yeah, we do incorporate that concept.
Interesting. And there's a lot of responsibilities. Not only, someone will put that thing, and we'll put it just to make sure you guys know how to validate that thing. And it's very interesting because a naive programmer will check if the password equals to this value that the user gave us, right? So it's very interesting how you program that thing. What else are we expecting from this workshop?
It starts off with introducing this concept called adversarial thinking, thinking like the enemy. And this concept is going to be carried on throughout the workshop series, thinking like the enemy, because we will be the enemy, essentially, when we hack our own machines. Followed by this, we're going to be introducing this operating system called Linux and a certain distribution of it called Kali Linux, which is the very baseline for hacking. Then we start going into our workshop, which is web vulnerabilities. We start showing students how to encrypt data. Then we show other types of vulnerabilities, which would be the last workshop.
If you would like me to go a little bit more in depth into our workshop, we're going to be going through 3 kind of levels of SQL injection. We'll be starting with a very basic, just doing that 1 equals 1 statement inside of a password field. And then we'll be moving on to something known as a union injection.
Union?
Union. So it's a little bit more advanced.
Yeah.
And from there, we'll be moving on to SQL map. It's a tool that helps automate the process and makes things a lot more easy to understand.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you mentioned those 3 attacks are the ABCs for all cybersecurity 101, if you may. By the way, we don't go over those details in the Cybersecurity 101. We here at the EPCC, we offer a course called ITSY 1300, which is the fundamental cybersecurity. We wish we can go in depth, but you guys are covering outside of the classroom, so I congratulate you that thing. You mentioned adversarial thinking, which is the series that we're actually broadcasting right now. I like that mindset that you mentioned. Why we are the enemy. And I'm going to go back to you, Louis, in a second, just why we are our own enemy.
So why are we our own enemy? Simply because we're essentially the hackers. We're teaching students how to hack. And as you're hacking your own machines, you kind of want to see how much damage can I do? What can I really do if I had the power?
I just want to clarify this for all our viewers. We actually teach you how to hack for educational purposes. And that's what we're trying to do here for ethical hacking, okay? I just want to clarify that. Otherwise, like, I want to take that course in EPCC because they teach you how to hack. Ethical hacking, right? And yes, you're absolutely right. But not too much about the damage, but also for...
Not so much about the damage, also for learning purposes.
For learning purposes, how to avoid that damage, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's that other side of the coin. Thank you for pointing that out, actually. That's a very... But sometimes we talk about red team, blue team, right? Which is another concept in the hacking community when we have a team that defends, a team that attacks, right? So the blue team is defenders. The offensive is the red team, right? And that's why we sometimes use the colors red and blue somehow in this. Louis, tell us a little bit about forensics.
Forensics.
What's forensics?
Forensics is using a scientific methodology to extract data from different devices, such as hard drives, memory, being able to extract that data, analyze it, and eventually present it. It's mostly for like court settings, even for companies that might be doing auditing within their own system, within their own company.
Yeah.
They need to be able to extract data, see what happened. If there's an incident that happened, they need to find out exactly what happened, present that data to a board, and make some type of determination on an incident that might have occurred.
The first time I heard about forensics, back in the day, there was a show called CSI. I think it's still there, right? And I remember that, I mean, some of that was fiction or some not, but they say like they catch someone and then they turn fire on the machine, and it's like I guess the person who was in charge of doing that malicious things, they burned the computer. It's like all the evidence is gone. And then these guys from CSI arrive like, wait a minute. And then they put some software and they recover a lot of data from damaged hard drives, memories, and even computers who were completely destroyed or burned. They were able to extract the information. Is that true, Louis?
You can. Fire is very damaging. You can really get rid of a lot of evidence with fire. But because they are encased in metal, sometimes it protects some of the components that are inside. The disks, if you're still using old hard drive disks, or even the chips that are inside might still be preserved, and you can go ahead and transfer those chips and those components to a different machine and be able to still extract that data.
How about if I decide to delete things? Like, you know what, this is some information, I'm just gonna delete it. I'm gonna go also to the recycle bin and delete it from there. Like, now I can sleep well.
No. When I initially started this workshop, I was fresh. I'm taking a course right now in forensics as we speak. So I'm diving more into the ins and outs of forensics and the legalities that come with forensics. It's a very, very broad subject it's very detailed, very complex. But just within my own research and testing for my workshop, I ended up finding out that no. To my surprise, within my first test, I managed to recover a lot of data from a drive that I believed was completely wiped. It was mine, but I had data on that drive from an individual I didn't even know. So I don't remember where I got this drive from, but I know it was mine for a while. But no, a lot of this information is still retained within these devices.
A little scary because we have spoke in this show about cyber awareness principles. For example, if you find a USB in the parking lot or in the restroom, right? People want you to just put that into your machine and do certain things, which I think, by the way, do not do that thing, right? Sometimes people leave those USBs to see who can catch. It's called either phishing, right? In computer science or computing, we call it cyber. We call it different ways, right? You mentioned something very intriguing that you say, you know what? Oh, I have this software that I was able to recover things like things that are not even mine there. So people might have even their personal information, even bank accounts there that they say, I'm gonna just delete it. I don't need it anymore. And then if you have access to those, you can recover them. Is that true?
Yes. Yes, a lot of the data that was recovered was, there's different tools that you could use. And most of these are going to be within Kali, which was what I tested in.
Kali Linux,
Kali
right?
Linux, yes. Which is what Pablo had mentioned earlier. Using different tools, you're able to extract different types of data. One of the tools that I used was Foremost. You're able to extract certain types of files. You can pick and choose, or it has a pretty robust library of what type of files you can extract. And another one that's very important that's used out in the field is Autopsy. Autopsy is another program where you're able to extract files. And then in Autopsy, you could pretty much extract everything else that's within the drives.
Foremost and Autopsy.
Yes.
Those are the software that you use? Are you going to use them in your workshop?
Yes, it's going to be part of my workshop. I'm going to get into using those tools. One of the main points in forensics that I try to make it a big deal is when you're conducting any type of investigation out in the real world, in law enforcement, in any company, it's very important not to work with the actual devices. Very important. The least you can touch those drives, the least you can touch those devices, the better. Any type of manipulation can corrupt the data, can manipulate the data, and essentially the integrity of the data is lost. And having that in a court setting could be inadmissible in court. So one aspect that I try to make it a point to explain to the students is grabbing images. It's an image of a drive. Getting a bit-by-bit image of all the data that is there or was there at one point. And then from there, doing your analytics, your analysis on that data.
You cover a lot of things.
Yes.
This is great, by the way, because you mentioned things in court, which means cyber law should be involved there as well. And there's some kind of procedures, maybe some policies about how forensics can go through sister systems in order to go and see, in order to extract information. You mentioned also the importance to not corrupt data or have data integrity there. Because if we touch something like that, that's evidence. And if it's just remove it or corrupt it, then you can lose or you can put someone on the line, right? On certain things.
A case could be
dismissed or
lost because of the only evidence that you have.
It's very sensitive, that part. And people don't pay attention too much. I mean, this software that you're talking about is obviously Kali Linux. If you remember, just go watch another show when we talk about Kali Linux, but it's an open source, fully available, top #1 software operating system that is used by the hacking community. Bunch of tools, by the way, there. And those are obviously used. Obviously, there's even more precise software that CIA and other three-letter agencies they use. You're not going to use them, right?
No, FTK, Forensics Toolkit, is another tool that's used. Some of these range into $30,000 for the complete kit, commercial kit. So unfortunately, I don't have access to FTK. Bit pricey. Have to get a second mortgage for that. But what we do have is pretty robust as it is. Autopsy provides more than enough tools to be able to
at least to get a gentle introduction to that thing. And you talk about analytics. Right now, we are in EPCC, we're working about to go through the data analytics part, because now that you have information, you want to have an analysis where of this information should be considered to be, which is sensitive, or a visualization of that. So I'm expecting, great workshop. By the way, I want to thank also Professor Karishev, who also helped to dive this coach edition of Hack the Border, right? So it was a great summer. I was able to to touch base a couple of times to see how this process, and she did a great job generating these workshops for Hack the Border. I also want to thank you for being here in the Hacker's Corner. Too many hacking wording here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And looking forward for your workshop. I want to thank everybody who has been supportive in this big event called Hack the Border. Please go and visit hacktheborder. Here in this website that you can see. Also, we will reference a couple of the shows in the past, so I want to invite you to go to EPCC TV YouTube channel to go and see the whole repository of shows that we have from the Hacker's Corner. My name is Cristian Servín. It was great to see you all. See you next time. Happy coding, everyone.